Hello.
Hi, is this Frankie Banali?
Is this Lisa?
Yes, it is.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
No complaints out here in sunny California.
Is it sunny? It stopped raining out there?
Yeah, it's we had rain all of last week, but now everything is all nice and green and sunny and shiny.
Yay! Well, I'm in Houston, Texas, so it was raining and warm, 70 yesterday, and today it's 46.
I love Texas, so I'm okay with it.
Yeah, it's like wait 5 minutes and the weather will change.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, at least it's not as bad as Orlando. You can pretty much between 3 and 4 o'clock every afternoon, it'll rain like it's never going to stop, and then it stops.
Right. So, let's talk about this new album coming out.
Okay. Let me see. It's we recorded it last April at the Frontiers Music Festival in Milan,
Right.
and it's got a worldwide release for this Friday, January 25th. It was a fun record to do. I really enjoyed it. It was the first time that Quiet Riot has played in Italy, so that was like a double gift in that regard. And it's a true live record. I opted not to do any fixes, not to fix any lead vocals or background vocals or guitars or bass or any of that nonsense, because I wanted it to be a true live record. And I made that decision well before we ever went to Italy to record it, because I'm a real big believer that there should be transparency and honesty. And if you're going to make a live record, make it a live record. If you're going to go into the studio and start fixing things, it ceases to be a live record from that point on.
Right. Now, this is only the second live album you've done, correct?
You mean with Frontiers?
Yeah. Or the first?
Yeah, we recorded. Last year we released a studio record on Frontiers Music. That came out August of 2018, titled Road Rage. So this is the second album we've done for that label.
Oh, okay. Now, that was your first time playing in Milan? I bet you that was exciting.
That was our first time playing in Italy altogether.
Wow.
The situation with Quiet Riot is in 1983, when we released the Mental Health record, and then subsequently it went to number one. For the next 3 years, 83, 84, and 85, the demand mostly in the United States was so huge that we were barely able to perform anywhere outside of the U.S. We played we did some UK dates with Judas Priest in 83 and one festival in Germany in 83. And then some scattered dates in Europe, 84 and 85, and the same thing with South America, and didn't even get to Japan for the first time until 85. So that was the reason for us not, being able to play there ever before.
What made you decide to do a live album instead of a studio album?
Well, we had already done a studio record for Frontiers that came out in 2018,
right.
And they first came to me and asked me if we wanted to play their festival, and I agreed. And then they asked me if I would like to have it recorded and released as a CD, DVD, and Blu-ray, and I agreed with the condition that I wouldn't do any fixes.
Okay, so you handpicked the songs to go on this live album?
Yeah, for this particular one, I had a couple of considerations in mind. First of all, since it was the first time we were playing in Italy, and then finding out that there was going to be a lot of fans from all over Europe that knew that was going to be the only European date we were doing, I picked songs that I knew that they would want to hear. The majority from the Mental Health record, quite a few things from Condition Critical, one song off of QR3, and we also did two new songs, Freak Flag and Can't Get Enough, from the 2018 Road Rage release. But also understanding that the European fans lean more towards heavier material,
right.
I wanted to give them some diversity, so I gave them Whatever It Takes, which is a deep album track from the 1995 Down to the Bone Quiet Riot record, and then Terrified, which is the title track from our 1993 release. So I wanted to give them a nice broad stroke of Quiet Riot.
Right. And you also performed Thunderbird, right?
Yeah, Thunderbird. Now, there's an error in the press release that the publicity department did. We've been performing Thunderbird live since 1983, but the difference with this performance on the live record is when we recorded it in '82, the song began with piano and then had piano through the entire song.
Right.
And it had never been performed live with piano because we don't take a keyboard player out.
Right.
So I thought, let's make something special for this live record for the fans there, but also for anybody that might buy it. And so I asked a friend of mine, Alessandro Del Vecchio, who's an amazing keyboard player and who actually produced this live record track, and he did. So this is actually the first time we have ever played the song live as it was recorded back in 1982 with piano.
Right. Now, didn't you change the last few words on the album? I mean, the song?
Oh, yeah. Initially what happened is a lot of people thought that Kevin had written a song about Randy dying, and that isn't quite accurate. What happened is Kevin had written the song about Randy leaving Quiet Riot when he left to go play with Ozzy, and the loss of that friendship. And he was scheduled to come in along with Rudy to play on that song. But as, fate would have it, when Randy passed away, Kevin rewrote the last verse to reflect, Randy's death.
Right. Right. Has there been any songs that you've never played live?
I'm sorry?
Have there been any songs that you've recorded over the years that you've never played live?
Yeah, there's a number of songs. There's at least with the exception of the Mental Health record, there's probably at least 2 songs per album, and in some cases more than we've never played. What ends up happening in the situation is after you've made 3 or 4 records and you go out on the road and the set times can be anywhere from 90 minutes to generally 75 minutes, but in some cases when you're playing festivals, it could be anything like 30 minutes to 60 minutes. And when you have so many songs that people expect to hear, everybody expects to hear Run for Cover, Slick Black Cadillac, Mental Health, all of those songs and things off of Condition Critical. What happens is when you record a new album, you can really only add maybe 1 or 2 songs to your set list, because for every song you add, you're going to have to take a classic song out of the set.
Right.
Which is why on this record we only did 2 songs from the 2018 release, Road Rage. We did Freak Flag and Can't Get Enough, which was the video.
So, you did a drum solo when you did that performance out there in Milan?
No, there's a little extended drum intro to Mama We're All Crazy Now, but generally speaking, I don't do drum solos in the Quiet Riot set. I used to do them in the 80s.
Yeah.
But if you do a drum solo, you're going to have to cut a song. And I'm a real big believer that the fans would be far more interested in hearing an extra song than hearing a drum solo.
Well, I guess that depends. Some people do, some people don't.
The majority would rather hear the song than the drum solo, believe me.
So, what do you think? Do you like recorded albums or do you like live? I prefer live.
Well, I like both experiences. Starts with
you're breaking up.
Creative process of sitting there and are you still there?
Yeah.
I thought I lost you for a second. It starts out with the creative process of writing a song and rewriting it and fine-tuning it and then going into the studio and recording it. And then eventually going out on the road and playing it. And then when you play it live, it takes on a life and personality of its own that's part of the original intent. But, it just becomes a different animal, so to speak. So I think it's important to have both, which is why I love touring, because I love playing all this material, but I also love the creative process, which is why even though this record it's not even out yet, live in Milan, we're already in the studio recording material for the next studio record.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, Stewart's plans, because I know you haven't. The last one you did was in 2018. 2018? Road Rage, right?
Yeah, Road Rage came out in 2018, and now One Night in Milan will come out this Friday, January 25th. And then, depending on how long it takes us to finish the record, it could possibly come out at some point in 2019 or definitely 2020.
Now, you've been in the music business for a long time. You joined Quiet Riot in 1980, correct?
Yeah, I started playing with Kevin in his solo band Dubrow in 1980, and then I'm actually the only member of Quiet Riot, a lot of members,
Right.
but I'm the only member in Quiet Riot that has played on every single Quiet Riot release from Metal Health to date.
Yeah, and you're now managing the band, correct?
Yeah, I started managing the band in January 1993. Kevin and the band asked me if I would take care of the business for Quiet Riot and manage the band, and we were recording that at the same time we were recording the Terrified album. So I've been managing the band for, do the math, quite a few years.
Right. Is there anything else that you do besides music? Other interests that you have? Other hobbies?
I have my own personal interests. I have a lot of interest in Japanese history and culture. But by and large, my life revolves around taking care of the business of Quiet Riot, performing live with Quiet Riot, and listening to music. I've got over 3,500 vinyl records, and I try to listen to at least 2 albums at least four days a week.
So you like vinyl also?
What's that?
I said, do you like vinyl also? I love vinyl.
Yes, yeah. Like I said, I've got 3,500 vinyl that's vinyl I bought, which was introducing the Beatles when I was a kid. So,
is this going to be out on vinyl? I know you said CD or DVD.
Yeah, there's an option for it in the agreement. It's really up to the label. I would imagine that if it sells well, because you can get it just the CD, or you can get the bundle, which is the CD and the DVD. That's the deluxe edition, and you can also buy Blu-ray. And I think if it does well enough, there was an option in the contract to have it released on vinyl. They released Road Rage on vinyl as a special edition last year. Awesome.
So you're planning a tour. I think you've already played a couple of shows. I didn't see any big lineup yet, like your whole year, just a few dates here and there.
Yeah, the touring cycle for Quiet Riot for 2018 ended at the Whiskey in Hollywood, December 27th, and then we only have 3 weeks off. Our first date of the year was last weekend in Scottsdale, Arizona, and we leave to play San Francisco this weekend. But I have dates on the calendar, including a number of festival dates all the way into presently October of this year, so it's going to be a busy year.
Great. I haven't seen anything for Houston, Texas yet, but I'm waiting.
Well, if you find out we're playing in Houston, Texas, send me a private message on Facebook and I'll guest list you.
All right. Woohoo!
Yeah. Free stuff is always good stuff.
I know, right? Yeah,
Yep.
I've actually met you a couple of times when you played the smaller venues here in Houston, but it wasn't with Quiet Riot.
Hmm. Well, you're always welcome to the party.
Now, if you've been in this business for a long time, if you could go back and tell yourself in the beginning something, your younger self something, what would you tell yourself?
To be honest with you, there's only two things that I would change if I had the power to change, and that would be that Randy would still be with us and that Kevin would still be with us. Beyond that, there's obviously mistakes were made by everyone, and but we've had an incredible run. I mean, here I am, 3.5 decades later, and I'm still having conversations with you about Quiet Riot, and I'm still performing live, and I'm still recording. Yeah, and I'm still recording. So, to be honest with you, it's been a really great, fun run with some sad moments, but I wouldn't change a thing.
Wow. To be a fly on the wall.
Oh, if you only knew. Let me give you a small idea of, you always read how, this band or that band or this other band did this and that, because they've all written books about it and all this, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So my birthday in 1984, we were doing pre-production rehearsal for the Condition Critical tour, because that was the first tour that we were going to headline. And the first date was going to be in Knoxville, Tennessee. And the lighting company we used was based out of Knoxville, Tennessee. So we used their facility to do the pre-production rehearsals. And my birthday rolled around, and it was during the time we were doing the pre-production rehearsals. And the lighting company, the owner of the lighting company, who's a really good friend, longtime friend, decided to throw a birthday party for me at the facility on my birthday after rehearsal. At the time, there were 22 strip joints in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Okay.
On my birthday, 20 of them were closed.
Oh no.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, that's all I'm going to tell you.
That's all you're allowed to tell me.
That's all I'm going to tell you.
I'll have to get the rest in person.
This was before cell phones and and cell phone cameras and cell phone videos. Yeah. Okay. Let your imagination do what it will, and it won't even come close to the truth.
Now it seems like you keep going back. I mean, you started out in your career in other bands, and then you joined Quiet Riot, and then you left, and then you came back, then you left, then you revived it. It's like Quiet Riot is your little baby.
Well, actually, the only time I didn't actually leave Quiet Riot. Here's the reality of the situation. After we did the fourth album that Kevin wasn't on, that version of the band did less than 10 shows. The band never played in the United States. And when we were in 1989, when we were in Japan, doing the last date, I decided to put the band on hold for a while. So I wasn't involved with Quiet Riot, and essentially there wasn't a Quiet Riot from 1989 to about 1993. Kevin had taken out a version of the band that had different names, and then it went back to Quiet Riot shortly before I rejoined the band. So I was really only out of the situation for a very short period of time. And most of that time, Quiet Riot didn't even exist. So.
Well, thank you for clearing that up.
Yep.
Well, anything else you would like to add before we get off here? Because I know you have a lot of interviews to do.
Oh yeah, I have 16 today, every half hour. No, I mean, my whole thing with Quiet Riot is I still do it because I enjoy doing it. I love doing it. But again, I am deeply thankful to the fans because the truth of the matter is, if the fan support wasn't there, if they didn't continue to buy the records, and especially if they didn't continue to come to the shows, then there's no way Quiet Riot could exist, or any band for that matter. And that's why a lot of the bands go by the wayside and break up and never really reunite again, because they just don't have the fan base to do so. So
Right.
I am very, very grateful to the fans because they're the ones that have given me the career that I've had and continue to have. And I never take that for granted. I mean, I see fans out in the audience that are as old as I am. I see fans in the audience that are younger, and I see fans in the audience that weren't even born when the first 3 records came out.
Right.
And that is one of the most gratifying things for me. So, in that regard, I'm very lucky. And again, this is one of the reasons why I wouldn't change anything. Here we are, 35, 36 years later, and we're having a conversation about Quiet Riot, and Quiet Riot still exists and continues. So I'm very grateful to the fans, and I'm very grateful to the press that's interested in talking to me, because
Right.
if we weren't actually active and doing anything, you wouldn't be having this conversation with me. You'd be having it with somebody else. So I'm
Right.
grateful for that as well, that you take the time to speak with me.
Oh, and I'm glad you had a little window to sit down and talk with me. And I thank you for reviving it and putting out new stuff and touring, and it's just, we all love it. So yeah,
Well,
we can't ask for more than
to,
that.
I tend to keep quiet. I intend to keep Quiet Riot going until either it's no fun anymore, or somebody goes, "Yep, I'm pretty sure he's dead."
All right.
Short of that, you can count on me.
So, have you put all of this music out on anywhere we can get it? Anywhere in the stores, online, where?
Yeah, you can definitely get it. Amazon is definitely selling all the product, including the Live in Milan, and then you can also go to the Frontiers Music website, and it's available there as well.
Great. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing you this summer.
Well, if you find out we're playing somewhere, you know how to find me, and I'll take care of the guest list. I can put a face to the voice, and maybe we'll even have a few beers, okay?
All right. Sounds great.
All right. It was really a pleasure speaking with you, Lisa, and you have a great rest of your weekend, okay?
You too.
All right. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.